In this video, I'm going to have a very short exploration of fracking. Fracking, or hydraulic fracturing, is a process that can be used to get oil out of shale deposits. And this often happens after an oil well has already been pretty much exhausted. It's already been, we think, run dry. But by using hydraulic fracturing, or fracking, what happens is the oil company, the driller, can pump some hydraulic fluid into the well to try and create cracks in the shale. And that shale can unleash other reserves of oil or natural gas. And so what it is that is pumped down into the earth is a mix of water, sand, and chemicals. And these are actually proprietary. The companies won't tell you exactly what's in their fracking fluid. And it's very water intensive, as you can see in the graphic. Now there are some risks, and a lot of places nearby fracking operations will complain of earthquakes, because that's really what's happening. You're creating pressure underground in a former oil well to try and crack the rock to release deposits of natural gas or any residual oil. Now, a lot of this shale gas or shale oil is coming from a few spots, and here's a map that shows shale plays in the lower 48. That basically means the United States that aren't Alaska and Hawaii. And so you can see some big ones up in North Dakota. There's some other ones up in the East Coast in the Appalachian Basin, some in the south around Texas. And what these have done is really reinvigorated the American oil and natural gas industry. After the advent of fracking technology, the United States almost overnight shifted, becoming a net fossil fuel importer to a net exporter, because they now had access to these previously inaccessible oil and gas reserves. Now again, just looking at the side effects here, as you're pumping down into the ground this fluid, and again we don't know exactly what's in them because these are proprietary. They're cracking rocks. We're getting pretty close to drinking water aquifers, and there's a lot of potential for groundwater contamination. And there have been several cases, legal action brought before the courts, where local communities are complaining that the groundwater is contaminated because of fracking operations. And so fracking is contentious. It's contentious for that reason, because we're not sure of exactly the effects. We're not sure of the chemicals that are being pumped into the ground. That there's potential contamination, and then of course just the fracturing of the ground causes instability, which is perceived as earthquakes in some areas. So despite the side effects, fracking has been great for the U.S. economy if you're willing to accept a bit of uncertainty. And it's a bit of a cartoon here, but it lets you know exactly what goes into the fracking process. You've got a lot of water being used. There's some sand and other particulate chemicals, and then well, we're not really sure. We often don't get the full story when it comes to fracking, and so there are a lot of questions remain. It's great for the economy. We're not really sure what the long-term effects will be for the environment.